So today we will be talking about the tumors of the central nervous system. So the annual incidence of tumors of the central nervous system is 10 to 17 per 100,000 people for all intracranial tumors and 1 to 2 per 100,000 people for intraspinal tumors. So the tumors can be in the brain, that is intracranial, or they can be in the spine. So we have intracranial tumors and intraspinal tumors. Majority of them are primary tumors, and tumors of the CNS account for nearly 20% of all cancers of the childhood. And amongst those, 70% of childhood CNS tumors, they arise in the posterior fossa. Can anybody tell me what is the posterior fossa? Which area? Posterior fossa कौन सा होता है? What are the components in the posterior fossa? किसको बोलते हैं posterior fossa? Yes, anyone? A comparable number of tumors in the adults, they arise within the cerebral hemisphere above the tentorium. So now the pathologist, they report the tumors according to the classification which is based on what we see on the slide on H&E section. Okay, so that is known as on the basis of histology. So the histological classification is what the pathologists prefer, but the clinical course is strongly influenced by the pattern of the growth and the location of the tumor. So even a benign tumor and a low-grade malignancy can be serious and it can have a fatal effect even though it is benign. Because of the capacity of the diffuse gliomas to infiltrate widely into the brain parenchyma, these tumors are not amenable to surgical resection. What do we mean by that? So there are intracranial tumors can be of two types. Some are circumscribed and some are diffuse infiltrating. So the circumscribed ones, as the name suggests, they have a clean boundary with the brain parenchyma, so they can be excised easily. And those which are diffuse gliomas, they are infiltrating into the brain parenchyma, so they cannot be excised easily by the neurosurgeon. So any CNS neoplasm, regardless of the histological grade or classification, may be lethal if it is situated in the critical brain center. For example, a benign posterior fossa meningioma may cause cardiorespiratory arrest by compressing the vital centers in the medulla. So even though meningioma is a very benign tumor, it is mostly grade 1, but if it is situated in the medulla, it may compress the respiratory center and may be fatal for the patient. Even though the gliomas can be highly malignant, but they rarely metastasize outside the CNS. Some malignant pediatric tumors, they spread through the CSF. Now coming to the protocols, currently we are using the WHO 2021 classification, Nishtha and Associates. Keep quiet. Now we are, in 2016, a new classification had come by the WHO which classified the brain tumors according to the molecular and the genetic classification. Because before that it was largely based only on H&E sections. So in 2016 we had a molecular and a genetic classification, but still there were many studies which were going on and n number of tumors were diagnosed. So again we have a classification in 2021. So this is the latest update, and this integrates all the molecular, genetics and the histological classification of the central nervous system tumors. So this is what we are reporting now. Now gliomas. Gliomas are the most common group of primary brain tumors, and they include astrocytomas, oligodendrogliomas and ependymomas. So every tumor has a characteristic histological type on the basis of which we can classify the tumor. And many CNS tumors have a predilection for specific anatomical site and for a particular age group. Astrocytomas, as I have already told you, they can be circumscribed, they can be diffusely infiltrating. The diffusely infiltrating ones are from grade 2 to grade 4 and circumscribed are mostly grade 1. So infiltrating astrocytomas are more important clinically because they are invading the brain parenchyma, cannot be surgically resected, so they have a high chance of recurrence and high chance of progressing into a higher grade, and that is why they are fatal to the patient and they constitute the bulk of the intracranial tumors. So infiltrating astrocytoma and glioblastoma, which is a synonym for grade 4 astrocytoma, they account for 80% of the primary brain tumors in adults. They are usually found in the cerebral hemispheres, but they can also occur in the cerebellum, brainstem or the spinal cord, and most often in the 4th to the 6th decades. The most common presenting symptom are seizures, headache and focal neurological deficits. The tumors range from astrocytoma grade 2 to grade 3 and astrocytoma grade 4 and glioblastoma grade 4. Now this is important and I'll talk about it in detail. We have two grade 4s. Okay, we have two grade 4s. So obviously there is some difference between astrocytoma grade 4 and glioblastoma grade 4. Initially, before 2021 classification, there was only one grade 4 which was glioblastoma. Now we have two grade 4s and I'll talk about it in detail. Because now they are further stratified on the basis of IDH. So histological classification has now been updated on the basis of immunological classification or IHCs and genetics. So IDH is the revolutionary IHC now in case of brain tumors, and these tumors, all these diffuse gliomas are categorized on the basis of IDH as IDH mutant, which means they are positive for IDH, and IDH wild type, which means they are negative for IDH. The glioblastoma is IDH wild type. So if we have IDH positive grade 4, it will be known as IDH mutant grade 4 and not as a glioblastoma. Glioblastoma has to be IDH wild type. So glioblastoma is IDH wild type and tends to occur in two different clinical settings, most commonly as a new onset disease, typically in older individuals, which is known as primary glioblastoma, and less frequently in younger adults due to progression from a low grade astrocytoma, which is a secondary glioblastoma. So if it is arising from a low grade, it is known as secondary. If it is arising de novo as a high grade, then it is known as a primary glioblastoma. So diffuse astrocytomas was a term which was used till date before 2021, and you may find it in the textbooks. That is why I have mentioned both, so that you don't confuse. Diffuse astrocytoma are now known as astrocytoma CNS WHO grade 2, and the diffuse astrocytoma terminology is now obsolete. So they are poorly defined gray infiltrative tumors that expand and distort the involved brains. These tumors range in size from few centimeters to lesions that can replace the entire brain parenchyma. The cut surface can be either firm or soft and gelatinous. Cystic degeneration may be seen. The tumor may appear well demarcated because it is low grade, it is grade 2. It may appear well demarcated, but it is not. It is ill-defined, and it is because of infiltration beyond the perceived margins, which means that you are perceiving it as a grade 2, or you are perceiving it as circumscribed, as if it is not infiltrating the brain parenchyma, but it is. Molecularly and on HE also you will find that they are invading the brain parenchyma. So they are grade 2 and they are diffuse infiltrating. The name diffuse infiltrating means they are infiltrating the brain parenchyma. Now coming to anaplastic astrocytomas. Anaplastic means something of greater malignancy than grade 2 or the lower grade. So this is a bit higher grade than the previous one, and it is astrocytoma CNS WHO grade 3. So this is the new terminology, astrocytoma CNS WHO grade 3. The term anaplastic is no longer used now, it is obsolete. It can have a similar appearance as the grade 2. The only difference will be that it is a little more cellular and mitotic activity is detectable. That is, the cutoff here is more than 4 plus per 10 high power fields. So you have to count the mitosis here. While in neuropathology, mitotic count is very important. If the cutoff is less than 4, it is grade 2. If it is more than 4, till 10 it is grade 3. If it is more than 10, then it will be grade 4. So coming to astrocytoma or glioblastoma CNS WHO grade 4. We know that this tumor was long back known as glioblastoma multiforme. Multiforme means it has a varied appearance. Okay. So though the terminology multiforme has been dropped, only glioblastoma has been retained. But yes, the variation in appearance of the tumor is there from region to region, and this is characteristic of this tumor. Some areas are firm and grey white, others are soft and yellow due to necrosis, or red due to hemorrhage and hypervascularity. So on the slide on HE, what you will find is, you will find necrosis, which is a hallmark for labeling it as grade 4. In grade 3, I just said that there will be hypercellularity and increased mitosis, which is 4 to 10. Baki kuch nahi hai. In this, for calling it as grade 4, there should be necrosis, there should be microvascular proliferation. Okay, so the necrosis often occurs in a serpentine pattern with the tumor hypercellularity. So hypercellularity is there along the edges of the necrotic margins. So it is known as palisading necrosis. There can be geographic necrosis also, which means necrosis is in a sheet-like pattern. Okay, microvascular cell proliferation. What do we understand by that? The blood vessels are lined by endothelial lining. So if the endothelial lining proliferates, that is known as microvascular cell proliferation, and it produces tuft of cells. And now, because endothelium kahan proliferate karega? Into the lumen. So the lumen will be obliterated. It will form a tuft-like thing. The cells are piling up and they bulge into the lumen of small blood vessels. It is because of VEGF, which is produced by the malignant astrocytes in response to the hypoxia. Because now there is hypoxia, VEGF is triggered, and this is the response to that hypoxia, that there is endothelial cell proliferation. Because histological features can be extremely variable from one region to the other, small biopsy specimens may not be representative and the tumor may be undergraded. Now it's been over 10 years that I am reporting neuropathology, and it is a important thing that when you get the specimen of the brain, you are supposed to gross the entire thing, because a small biopsy of this, and maybe it can be that they have biopsied, or the slide which you are making is from the area which is low grade and the other area may be grade 4. So you have to gross the entire tissue because of the heterogeneity of the biopsies. Otherwise you may undergrade the tumor and the patient may suffer from the treatment aspect. So this is what is classically known as grade 4. So this is necrosis. This is necrosis, and these are the tumor cells which are surrounding it. So this is palisading tumor necrosis, and these are the blood vessels which are thickened, hyalinized, and here this is a full-blown, nearly glomeruloid tuft. So only a small part of the lumen is visible. Okay, so this is how, and this is here again, this is palisading necrosis. बीच में white दिख रहा है, ठीक है? So these are the features which are characteristic to call it as grade 4. Coming to meningiomas. Meningiomas, they are predominantly benign tumors of the adults. They arise from meningothelial cells of the arachnoid and they usually attached to the dura. Dura we know is a meningeal covering. So meningiomas may be found along any of the external surfaces of the brain, because dura cover कर रही है तो कहीं ना कहीं superficial होगा mostly. As well as they can occur within the ventricular system also, where they arise from the stromal arachnoid cells of the choroid plexus. So अगर intraventricular है, it is because the choroid plexus has the stromal arachnoid cells. Prior radiation therapy to the head and neck for any carcinoma, typically decades earlier, is a risk factor for the development of meningioma. Other tumors such as metastasis, solitary fibrous tumors, and a range of poorly differentiated sarcomas can also grow as dura-based masses. So meningioma is a dural-based tumor. Pathogenesis, they have 50 to 60% of the meningiomas, they harbor mutations in the NF2 or a neurofibromatosis 2 gene. Most commonly they are seen in the convexity tumors, including those that eventually become higher grade. So the convexity tumors are most commonly having NF2 mutation, and they are the meningiomas which are more prone to become higher grade. Meningiomas without NF2 mutations are mostly found in the skull base and they have a lower risk of malignant progression. Higher grade meningiomas are also found to have other mutations which are TERT promoter mutations and homozygous CDKN2AB deletions. Morphology, the meningiomas are usually rubbery, rounded or bosulated dural masses that compress the underlying brain but are easily separated from it. They can also grow end plaque, in which the tumor spreads in a sheet-like fashion along the surface of the dura. Because it is spreading in a sheet-like fashion, they are known as end plaque meningiomas. They may range from firm to finely gritty or sand-like, and that is because of the dystrophic calcification or the psammoma bodies which are found in meningioma. Most of the meningiomas have low risk of recurrence or aggressive growth, and they are also most commonly they are grade 1 meningiomas or CNS WHO grade 1. There are many histological patterns, and most common are meningothelial, fibroblastic, transitional, and psammomatous. Now this is a meningioma. Here we can see it is superficial in location. It is adjacent to the dura. These are the whorls, and this is a better section in which you can see round to oval nuclei, largely benign. There is no malignancy, with no obvious malignancy. In this there is a little bit hemorrhage also, but there is no mitosis, not much anaplasia. So they are grade 1 tumors. Coming to atypical meningiomas, which are CNS WHO grade 2 tumors, they represent about 1/4 of meningiomas associated with higher recurrence rates. Because they are grade 2, obviously they are aggressive, they have higher recurrence rates, which may require radiation therapy in addition to surgery. For grade 1 meningiomas, they can be totally resected, but grade 2 meningiomas, we do need additional treatment in the form of radiation therapy. They are distinguished from low-grade meningiomas by having increased mitosis. As I have already told you, mitotic activity plays the most important role in neuropathology. So increased mitotic index will be there, brain invasion will be there. So the surrounding brain parenchyma is invaded, that is grade 2. Certain histological factors like clear cell and chordoid meningiomas are considered grade 2 by definition because of their aggressive behavior. Here what they say is that if the meningioma is clear cell or chordoid, then even if mitotic activity is not there or it is less, even if brain invasion may not be there, that means even if other criteria of grade 2 are not there, still they will be classified as grade 2 because this morphology has been found on studies to be aggressive in nature. So coming to the anaplastic meningioma or the malignant meningioma, commonly known as, which is a layman term though, malignant meningioma, it is CNS WHO grade 3. This is a highly aggressive malignancy, and it often resembles a carcinoma or a sarcoma, but it retains some evidence of meningothelial origin. So if you see the entire slide, you gross the entire specimen, somewhere you will be able to find out कि नहीं ये meningioma है. Otherwise it can be so, the histology may be so obscure that it may be tough to identify the histogenesis. They account for only 1 to 3% of meningiomas and may arise de novo or from the malignant progression of the low-grade meningiomas. Mitotic rates are often markedly elevated, which is more than 20 per 10 high power field. Again, in grade 1 less than 4, grade 2 4 to 20, and this is more than 20. Papillary and rhabdoid meningiomas, that means on H&E if you have a papillary architecture or a rhabdoid architecture, they are rare variants, and they are also found to have a high recurrence rate and mortality rates. So the clinical features are, the most common sites are parasagittal aspect of brain convexity, dura over the lateral convexity, wing of the sphenoid, olfactory groove, sella turcica, and foramen magnum. Meningiomas are uncommon in children and generally show a moderate, that is 3:2 ratio. Female predominance is there, but the ratio is only 3:2. But the spinal meningiomas, they show marked predilection in the females, and the ratio is 10:1. They are usually solitary. Meningiomas often express a variety of hormone receptors, which are progesterone receptors, and grow more rapidly during pregnancy, and they regress after delivery. Coming to retinoblastoma, it is the most common primary intraocular malignancy in children. The name retinoblastoma may suggest that the origin is from the primitive retinal cell that is capable of differentiation into both glial and neuronal cells, but it has been found that the cell of origin is neuronal in nature. So this is the reflex. What is this reflex known as? इसकी आंख में जो reflex दिख रहा है white. The symptoms are leukocoria, squint, and ocular inflammation. So approximately 40% of the cases, retinoblastoma occurs in individuals who inherit a germline mutation of RB gene, and the RB gene function is lost after the second somatic mutation. In the sporadic cases, both RB alleles are lost by somatic mutations, and the retinoblastomas arising in those with germline mutations are often bilateral. Sometimes they are associated with pinealoblastomas and they are known as trilateral. So coming to the morphology, the pathology of retinoblastoma, both hereditary and sporadic types, is identical. Tumors may contain both undifferentiated and differentiated elements. Former may appear as collections of small round cells with hyperchromatic nuclei. Focal zones of dystrophic classification are characteristic of retinoblastoma, and these are the rosettes which are seen classically in retinoblastoma. Well differentiated tumors, there are flexner viscous tenuous rosettes and florets which reflect the photoreceptor differentiation. However, the degree of differentiation does not appear to be correlated or associated with the prognosis of the tumor. So retinoblastoma tends to spread to the brain, it can spread to the bone marrow, and seldom it can disseminate to the lungs also. Prognosis is adversely affected by intraocular extension, invasion along the optic nerve, and by choroidal invasion. There is a variant of retinoblastoma which is known as retinocytoma or retinoma. It has been reported and it appears to be pre-malignant in condition. The appearance of retinoblastoma in one eye and retinocytoma in the other eye is characteristic of heritable retinoblastoma.